Welcome back, everybody. As you see Tia just riding and bouncing along, we are going to be talking more in depth about ATV safety. I'm here with Brian Kurin, and he is part of the Marquette County Sheriff's Office. Brian, thank you for coming out and speaking with us. I know that you talk about, or not talk about, but I know that you do the safety courses here to teach people how to properly ride an ATV. So, can you go into a little bit more detail as to what people may need in order to make sure that they're safe on these trails?
Yeah, so anybody under the age of 16 needs to have an ORV safety class. They need to have that certificate when they're out riding. They also need to be with a parent or legal guardian when they're out on the trails. Once you get your regular driver's license, then you kind of do what you need to do. But up until 16, make sure you have your safety certificate. And then, of course, you need some standard stuff. Everybody needs to wear a helmet, especially on an ATV such as mine. When you get into the side-by-sides, there's a few different rules. As long as you're wearing your seatbelt, you have a windshield, certified roof, then you don't necessarily need a helmet, but they're still always a good idea.
Is there any protective eyewear, any type of elbow pads, knee pads that people need to wear, or are some of those things optional?
Eyewear is also always required. It is supposed to be ANSI rated eyewear, but some of the better sunglasses are kind of okay, but it needs to be a safety glasses. When you get into the dirt bikes, that's where you get into the more specialized boots, elbow pads, chest protectors, things like that, where you don't have the vehicle around you to keep you safe.
When you're on a four-wheeler, do you recommend wearing a particular type of protective outer layer like you would on a motorcycle or a dirt bike, or do you not necessarily need to go that far?
You definitely need to have long sleeves on. If you don't, you're going through the woods, you're going by branches, you're going to get whipped by things. If you're in a group, stuff gets thrown up by the vehicles in front of you. There's no shortage of bugs in the air around here, so even getting hit by one of those at a few miles an hour doesn't feel very good. So definitely long pants, long sleeves, gloves. Just try to protect as much of the skin as you can.
It really doesn't hurt to have a visor or a pair of sunglasses too, even if you think you don't need them, because like you mentioned, bugs, flies. When you're riding fast through the woods, you don't want something to fly into your eye and compromise your eyesight.
Absolutely, yeah. If you get something in your eye going down the road, or rock, even just dust, it's not a good thing.
Is there should people, bring first aid kits with them, when they're riding, and what should be in that first aid kit?
Yeah, first aid kits are definitely a good idea. A GPS, cell phones if you have one, and definitely a flashlight, because inevitably you break down right before dark and then you're stuck in the dark. As far as the first aid kit, simple bandages. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Some of the ice packs, that you can activate, and actually even in the summer, having a heat pack with you, the air activated ones is really good, because it still gets cold at night. If you get wet, you get stuck in the rain, it's nice to be able to warm up.
Have you seen any rescues so far yet this season?
We have had several private property accidents. Nothing on the trails yet that's been reported, but there's a lot out there. One of the biggest messages for riding on the trails is ride to the right. That comes from the snowmobile, goes on the ATV. The biggest incidents we have are head-on accidents.
Yeah.
And if everybody stays on the right side of the trail, then we don't have that problem.
So just like how when people drive on the roadways, is there a speed limit that people need to be aware of when riding ATVs and being on the trails?
There's not a posted speed limit in too many areas. If you're riding on a dirt road, a county road under the county ordinance, which is legal, then you have to be at 25 miles an hour. But out on the trails, you have to maintain your control.
Okay. So people can actually ride these ATVs on the roadways, and
as long as it's a county road, you cannot ride on any M roads like M94, M553, or US 41. You can't be on those, but if it's a county designated road, you can ride on the far right side at, like I said, 25 miles an hour with traffic to get where you need to go.
What kind of relationship do you maintain with these types of clubs in order to promote the safety and the safe riding of ATVs?
The clubs are very good to us. They give us a location to hold our safety classes. Next Thursday, we have a class here in Forsyth. It's open to anybody who wants to take it. We shoot for the 12-year-old age gap, anybody under 16 for sure. But they feed the kids. They give us the spot to do it. They help promote the classes to make sure that the kids are learning to be safe when they're driving.
Yeah, a lot of different events that you guys partner with to promote that stuff. And, of course, we want to ride an ATV ourselves and learn more about the mechanics of an ATV in order to safely venture off and get into the trails. I'm excited for it, Tia.
I know, it looks like it might start like raining or sprinkling or something.
Yeah, let's cross our fingers and hope that it does not do that before we ride around and things like that. So
and if it does, well, we'll get muddy.
Yeah, we'll get muddy. Like I said, I have my Doc Martens on, so I'm cool. I'm all right. I'm ready. So guys, we'll be back in 3. We'll be riding around.